Now recently I put out a poll where I asked you guys what videos you wanted to see, and one of those topics was the walkthrough guide on the instrument cluster. So yes, this is that video. So we're going to run through all the different menus, from trip computers to full screen navigation, and even where the next track button is on Mercedes-Benz cars, because, well, there isn't one on the steering wheel, but there are a few different ways to do it. So we're going to cover all of that today in this tutorial guide. Let's jump on in. Now guys, when it comes to different instrument clusters, of course there are varying different models of Mercedes out there. This video is basically for people who have MBUX NTG 7 or generation 2 of MBUX. And the way you can tell if you have that is primarily you're going to have this steering wheel right here. So this is of course one with these kind of twin spoke designs going across here, all touch, so not physical buttons, actual touch buttons. But then another way you can tell is have a look at that Hey Mercedes voice assistants, the one where you can like talk to the car. If I press this, if you've got sparkles, then this of course is the right guide for you. If it's like wavy lines, then that's the previous version. I have another video on that one which I'll link down below. So of course, how on earth do you use it? Well, there are a lot of buttons on modern car steering wheels now. So there's all these different touch buttons here on the top and of course on the bottom. And you might be wondering, where do you even start? Well, the pro tip for this, and probably the best thing you can take away from this video, is literally just put a line down the middle of the steering wheel. Basically, the left-hand side will control the left screen, and of course the right-hand side will control the right screen. And of course, if you're left-hand drive, then it will be inverted the other way around. Who has the steering wheel on the correct side? Let me know in the comment section down below. So I won't run through the stuff on the left-hand side of the steering wheel just because that dictates literally everything on that side. So we're focusing on the screen literally in front here behind the steering wheel. Now, when you first pick up your car, it's probably going to look a bit like this here. And this is what Mercedes refer to as the classic style or the classic theme. And if you look on the very top right-hand corner here, you've got a home button and up and down and left and right buttons and back buttons. That's the bit I'm primarily going to use just for this section here. So this literally controls everything on the screen here. And you quite simply just swipe up and down like this. But the key factor here is have a look at the very, very right-hand side just here. You'll notice that there's these kind of like white dots and then a red dot. Those are all the different screens that you can do just by swiping up and down. And this is what we're on at the moment. We're on the trip computer. So you literally just swipe up and down and view different things. So here we have the total mileage from last reset and the total mileage of my car. Yes, can you believe it's almost been a year since I've had my car? I don't know where the time's gone. It's literally due a service soon, so I don't know where this year's gone. Swipe down to the next one. This is your trip computer from the last almost kind of session. It either resets every 4 or 6 hours of no use. So basically that is my journey today. So yeah, 46.3 mpg from a petrol, not bad. And I can quite easily get another 10 out of that as well. So this engine is really, really good. Other stats here, of course, the top left is your average MPG for this session. Then you've got top right, which is the average miles per hour for this session. Bottom left there with the 11 is the total number of miles you've done for this session. And then bottom right refers to how long you've sat in the car for with the ignition or the engine on. Underneath this, the one with the leaf is basically referring to some of the mild hybrid stuff or a plug-in hybrid if you have that. So it will refer to how much kind of mileage and energy you've saved over the course of a journey. So you'll notice as time goes on that the 0 miles an hour will go up to 1, 2. It basically just kind of shows you how many miles you've done on the mild hybrid tech where the engine's kind of turned off and saved fuel. So just another stat in case you're interested. Of course, to make use of this, make sure you're in the eco mode. Now, if I swipe down, this one is called From Reset. Now, this is exactly the same, but it's from when you last reset it. So notice here, From Start and From Reset. Both are literally the same, all the same stats and everything, but the only difference is that From Start is from the start of your journey on that day with that kind of 4 to 6 hour gap. I can't remember the exact timings. But From Reset is when you last reset it. So if you've never touched that before, that will show you the total miles from when it was literally last reset, quite often when you bought the car. Next up here is the eco display. Now I would like to make a video on this video with this kind of ball that goes forwards and backwards, and it basically refers to how you can drive in the most economical way. But yeah, if you guys want to see a video on that, let me know, and that's a kind of video in itself because it has loads of eco things underneath that with different green icons that pop up. But yeah, if you want to see that, let me know in the comment section down below. Swiping down again, this one is your current consumption. So notice here at the moment it's all 0 because the engine's off and it says gallons per hour. So yes, you can actually see how many gallons of fuel you're using per hour. But if you start driving around, it'll then show you your current consumption of miles per gallon as you drive around. That's your current consumption, so not the average or anything. It's literally per like millisecond. So if you go to accelerate, you'll see that'll go right down to like 5 mpg, level off, and then it'll go to around 40, 50, 60 mpg depending on the car. Of course, the higher the engine, so if you have like a 3 litre or 4 litre, then it's going to be a bit lower than that. Swipe down again, this one is attention assist. So yes, I think pretty much every single Mercedes-Benz I've ever sat in has this, and I think I might actually make a video on this. It's quite a fascinating feature, this one. Not really anything to look at on the screen. I mean, it will tell you when you're not paying attention, but basically every Mercedes-Benz will memorise how you drive within the first 2 minutes or so of a journey, and then it takes that data and kind of sees how you're driving like an hour or 2 or 3 into your journey. And if it's different, as in you're swaying from lane to lane and various other things, it'll tell you to take a break. Now, swiping down from this one will go to either radio or media. This depends on what you are playing or have last played in the car. So I've just literally got radio on at the moment, and yes, you can of course control it over here. But I'm just going to focus on this bit here. Basically, all you do is swipe left and right like this, and it will go either next radio station or previous station. However, if you were on media over here, so say playing something off your phone or USB or something like that, then it's going to be playing that instead. So if I was on USB, it says no device connected because I haven't got my phone connected at the moment, but you literally just swipe left or right to control track. And that is one of the ways how you can do previous and next track, but I'll cover the other ways in a bit. So yes, you can literally have your music playing on the screen here without changing anything over there. Maybe have the sat nav over there and then your music playing here. And then finally on this one, if we go down, this is going to show you your map. Now there's actually a hidden function on this that not many people know about. Yes, of course you have your map literally in the middle of your dials, which is quite nice. But if you press the OK button in, this will actually bring up destinations for a start. So you can go on here and then actually choose previous destinations or favourites and literally start the sat nav without even controlling or touching this element. But also, if you go to zoom, in here you can literally zoom in and out just by swiping. So if you want to go out a little bit more, just keep going down like this and eventually you'll zoom out to see where you are. But I think most people are probably going to keep it on the one fairly zoomed in. However, head into map settings, and this is where you can actually enable a satellite map for this screen, which is quite nice. So yeah, you can have literally almost what looks like a Google Earth kind of view just here. And in that same menu, if we go back into map settings, you can turn on or off the auto zoom. So this depicts how much you're zoomed in. So if you're going a bit slower in terms of your miles per hour and speed, it will be zoomed in, but go a bit faster, like motorway speeds, it will zoom out. So pretty clever. Then there's also 2D heading up, 2D north up, and 3D. So these are just the different modes and views you can have on a sat nav. So that one will be facing north all the time. And then that one will be a 3D kind of look with it kind of following a bit like that. So yeah, different ways of viewing it. I don't personally use it that much because I mainly use Apple CarPlay, but I'll turn that off and put that back on that one for now. But yeah, that is literally the trip computer. So all I've done there is literally just use the up, down, left and right buttons and the back button so far. So the back is the back button to go back out of something. So pretty easy. However, now we're going to some more advanced things if you press the home button. So yeah, pressing the home button now brings up this array of different options and things here that you can swipe left and right. Now, depending on the level of equipment on your car, you could also have a head-up display. Sadly, I didn't opt for that one on my car, so I don't have that. But you'll have HUD options here as well. And of course, if you have the driving assistance package as well, then there's various different things on there you can do with that too. But I have a separate video on the driving assistance package, which I will link below this video in the description. So press home. And now, of course, this is classic, of course, with all the trip computers and things like that. But if we swipe left to understated and click OK, it's basically as minimalistic as you can be and just kind of dims all the dials down, just showing you as little information as possible. Some people might prefer that if they find it a bit too distracting. Now, one hidden thing on this is if you press the OK button, you can literally swipe up and down here and control the kind of different colours of the screen here. So yeah, you can go for a purple vibe among many others. So yeah, don't think many people know about that one. Pressing home button one more time, if we go across, so we've just done understated, let me swipe right to this one, and this one is the sport mode. So this one is not anything to do with the drive mode down here, this is just the looks, the theme. So yeah, this has G-force readings on the left hand side and animations on the front. Of course you'll always have your speed literally at the top right here, but then you've got things like Newton meters and horsepower and engine data, kPa referring to the, I think the turbo pressure. Then of course you've got the oil temperature as well. So yeah, if you're into that, you might want the sport mode. One other cool thing as well with the sport mode, it also does change this bit over here to red. So this is red over here. It's one of the only themes that does that. If I press back and go to blue, it'll go to blue again over there. Now pressing home button, of course, now we've done understated and sport. We already did classic because that's the one with the trip computers and the radio and media and the navigation. Now go right, this is full screen navigation. So there aren't many cars that can do this, but if you press the OK button, this will literally just bring up a full screen map. So yeah, if you didn't want to have your map over there. I mean, having it in two places is probably a little bit greedy, but hey, if you want full screen map, you could have one with a satellite view and one without. You can do that. Again, same rules apply, just with the small map. If you press the OK button, you can control and add destinations in here. You can do the zoom and of course all the map settings just like before. Press the home button again, of course, then we've done that one. So on to the next one, which is assistance. Now, this in this particular car and most Mercedes-Benz isn't really going to do much. So it's literally just going to show you, I think, blind spot elements on the bottom left and bottom right. But then also when you're driving behind the car, it will show you an actual car on the screen when the car's detected the car in front. Now in this, it won't do anything. It does a bit of mild hybrid stuff where it brakes a little bit with a bit of brake recuperation. But for the full functionality of this, you will need an option called the driving assistance package. So I have a separate video on that, which I'm going to link in the description down below. But yeah, you won't really see that much on this screen just because of the equipment on the car. So certainly in my car, it won't really do much here. Now press the home button again, and then the final one is service. So in here, this just brings up loads of information from any warning messages. I mean, if there's a warning message, it will come up on the screen, quite visible on the display anyway. But if you have dismissed it, you can access them in there on the top left. And then we have a thing called Assist Plus. I'm not sure why it's called Assist Plus, also with a Y, it must be a Mercedes thing. Basically, that's your service interval, so it shows you when the car's next due for a service. Then you have coolant temperature over on the top right, and of course, engine oil level. So this is how you can check your engine oil. And then directly in the middle of the car shows you all of your tyre pressures. And there is also a way that you can actually reset them as well. Number one, if there's any warning messages on the screen like this here, see it says I've got a door open, you can press the OK button to dismiss it. That'll get rid of it. Now, when we're on this screen, if you want to actually reset your tyre pressure monitor, just press the OK button. And then, of course, you can see the messages, which I mentioned a few seconds ago. But in here, you can actually reset your tyre pressure values. So it'll reset the monitor on all four wheels. But yeah, that is a run through of this instrument cluster. Now, there's a couple of things left. There is a hidden feature that not many people know about, which I just want to quickly go through. Then also the next track button, which, well, I'll show you the different ways you can change a track. So, hidden button first. If, for example, you, I don't know, had it on full screen sat nav and you want to go back to the normal dials. Normally, what you would need to do is press the home button and find the thing you want, so classic, and press OK, like that. So there's a couple of steps. There is a quicker way you can do it. So let me put that back to sat nav, for example. Now all you do is just literally press the back button. Like that. But then if you press the back button again, you can literally toggle between those last two views effectively. So you can literally swipe between them literally very quickly like this. Now, if you want to change one of the default views, and it's called, I think Mercedes called it the direct entry, all you do is find the view you want. So say I want it to always default to the sat-nav view like this one. Just hold the OK button and then it'll ask you a question, set direct entry, and you literally just swipe that way and click yes. So then that way is basically going to always default to the map when you press the back button, depending on whichever one you've got. So one pretty easy way of doing that. I thought the next best thing is to cover the next track button. Now, I say next track button, there isn't one, as you may have seen. So I don't know why Mercedes have this, but there is not a next track button anywhere. There used to be a touchpad in cars, but now Mercedes have got rid of that. That actually did have a next track button on it, but now there's nothing. So there's a couple of ways of changing your track. Now, because I use Apple CarPlay, I'm going to use that as an example. The same will apply if you use radio, like DAB radio, that sort of thing. So you can do next station, previous station, same sort of concept. So, as I use music, let's just load up music and have that playing. I'll keep it muted just for now. Now, the first way, if you're using Apple CarPlay, yes, you can literally just go next track, previous track, like that on the screen. Now, if you have the split view, which I think what Apple call the dashboard, yes, you can do it over here as well, so next track, previous track, like that. But every time you do have to lean forward. I know, first world problems. Now, the other way of doing this is, say, I don't know, you've got the sat-nav on like this, and you don't want to, you know, change what you've got and go to music, change the track, like that. Sat-nav, oh, I've missed my turning, or just lots of fumbling around. Because normally, most cars would have a next track button over here. So one way you can do it is by swiping down on this classic setup here. So if you have it on a different one, press the home button, make sure you're on classic, and then just keep swiping down until you come across that radio and media tab, which is this one here. Now, because it is touch buttons, you do have to very delicately swipe left and right like this, because if you swipe accidentally up, you'll go up a menu. But if you do swipe left or right like this, you can change the track, next track and previous track, just like that. Finally, the other way is by using the voice assistant. So you can literally just say, "Hey Mercedes,
how may I help you?"
Next track. And it'll change the track like that. Or, because this is one of the newer voice assistants, you can use direct commands and literally just say, next track, without even saying the hey M bit. I won't say it again, otherwise it'll trigger it. But yes, that is a run-through guide of all of the buttons on the instrument cluster on MBUX. So there we go, guys, that is the walkthrough guide on the instrument cluster. Now, if you want to see some more Mercedes tutorials, I've got some literally just here, so click on this one if you own a Mercedes, and make sure to hit that subscribe button, as I've got loads of videos just like this, and always open to suggestions. But guys, thank you so much. Until next week, see you then.